listening to the Real Talk at the Z podcast, hitting on topics that are real, relevant, and reaching. Discussing relationships, money, sex, men, women. You name it! So sit back, listen up, and let's have some real day-to-day conversation because
this is Real Talk at the Z.
Real Talk.
Real Talk at the Z. I am none other than Pastor Melissa Johnson. I'm super excited to be here on today. I have some agents, right? Some people with me on today, and I'm going to just quickly introduce them, and then I'm going to let them tell you who they are and all those type of good things. So first of all, I want to start out with Miss Karen Lee, and she is a realtor. And I'll let her explain or tell where she serves at in realty. And then we have also Deacon Fernard Hennings. Come on, y'all know who he is. Right. Come on and give it up, right? And then we have the MLO here, Miss Kimberly Collins. And so today we're going to continue our conversation on generational blessings. We've already talked about the blessing of having a good name. We talked about the blessing of having wisdom. And today we're going to talk about the blessing, the generational blessing of owning real estate, of owning land. God told the children of Israel, I'm going to take you out of the land of Egypt and I'm going to take you into a wealthy place, right? So he always promised to give them land. And so today we're going to talk about that, especially in the kingdom, especially how it relates to us in our community, the importance of owning land. And so as we get ready to start this conversation, I want to start it out first of all by saying, you know, we talked about God said he's going to take them into the wealthy place, but over and over, especially in the book of Deuteronomy, he talked about how I'm going to give you cities, right, that you didn't build. I'm going to give you houses that you didn't fill. I'm going to give you cisterns that you didn't dig, and I'm going to give you vineyards that you didn't plant, right? So all of that is land to me. All of that is property to me. And so God has blessed us, and he has promised to give us land, property, possessions. And so as we start this conversation, first of all, I want you to tell us who you are, where you work, and then, you know, just how does that affect you, knowing that, you know, that this is something that God has for us and that he wants us to possess. And since you're in that field, you're in that industry, then, you know, how are you able to use what you do in the kingdom? You know, how does it affect, you know, this promise and how you move in the earth concerning this matter? Anybody can start, whoever wants to start first.
I think that I'm Karen Lee, aka Mike's wife, and I'm at United Real Estate, Middle Tennessee, here in Murfreesboro. I think that affects us as far as in the kingdom. There are some people that that have the opportunity to buy land, to get into land, but they're scared.
Yeah.
And I think that me being a realtor, me being in the business and others in the industry, it's our duty to help empower them on the knowledge to even to be able to take baby steps. Because some people, you could just take them by the hand and bring them to the table. Some of them, you have to take baby steps with them. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. You said something. I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves, and then we're gonna come back. Yes, sir.
And I'm Fernard Hennings. I'm with Reliant Realty. And as Sister Lee was saying, Mike's wife, is that, you know, when you talk about real estate, and we got to understand, she said baby steps, and I like the concept. Sometimes we got to look at that as, I think, maybe undesirable land. It may, and you might can get that at an affordable price versus the prime real estate that's going to cost you a little bit more. And the thing about land, God is not making any more.
See.
And so we got to take advantage of what's there. And Malcolm X said, by any means necessary.
Okay.
So at this time, I think when we get an opportunity, then we should jump on that opportunity to purchase land.
That's good. That's good.
My name is Kimberly Collins, and I just recently joined a company. It's Own Easy, and its initiative is to help 75% of our people to become homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have resources available that can get you to that place to become a homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we talk about real estate, I was one of the ones, like Miss Karen Lee said, that was afraid.
Mm-hmm.
As a single mom, I thought it wasn't possible, that I would never become a homeowner. But since I've been here, I've bought 2 homes. So I'm just really excited about it. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And so as we continue in our conversation, you know, you both mentioned how in our community we've been afraid. We're scared. I think one of the reasons has been because there was a time in America when we could not own property. We couldn't own land. We were property, right? And so now that we are in a position where we can own it, we don't understand all that it entails. You know, as I was sharing with you all earlier, you know, I know some members in my family own land, you know, and then they lost it because they didn't understand the fact that they needed to pay the taxes on it. And I think that that's a sad thing because a lot of times we have people who want in our community who own land, but then they want to get rid of it because they don't want to pay the taxes, right? And so we're giving away the baby, what they say, with the bathwater.
Wash.
Right. And so, you know, just being able to possess and own property, like Deacon Hennon said, there's no more being made. So if we can get it now, then why not get it? And so that was just my take on why, you know, I think some of us are afraid. What are some other reasons that you all think that they're afraid?
I think that we coming up, and I guess I'm maybe a little bit older than most of you guys.
You are.
Maybe a year or two. But we never was taught to purchase houses, purchase land, or anything of value to continue the success of the family. You know, the Bible said we need to leave an inheritance, as you had mentioned earlier. And if we don't have anything to leave, then we hadn't did what God asked us to do.
See, that's good.
And years ago, and I just think about it, when I first got married, you know, it was a house back in West Tennessee. It was like $60,000. And I'm like, you know, I thought that was a lot, but it wasn't anything compared to what we're trying to purchase home for now.
Right.
And I was thinking that should have been my first home. But now that I know different, I think different, but then it's like, I ain't spending that money. And I think that's our mindset that we had coming up, is that a lot of us didn't know. And those parents that taught their kids to purchase land are much better off now than some of us are. Well, me.
Right.
I don't know about y'all.
Okay. And so, you know, I think one of the things that we fail to understand as well, and I want you all to comment on this, is that though, you know, everybody doesn't want to own a house. I understand that. But what are the blessings, the benefit of owning a home? Because I understand that it can lead to wealth if we know what to do with it. So would y'all expound on that a little bit, like the benefit of owning the home? Because somebody's like, I don't want to own a home because I don't want to pay the tax. I don't want to do this, and you know, A, B, or C. But just share with us what are some of the benefits. How can it lead to wealth when we purchase land or purchase a home?
Well, first off, if you're not paying off your house, you're paying off somebody's house.
Paying somebody's.
So it's the same thing as saying that if you're not investing in yourself, you're investing in somebody else. So, yeah, basically, I mean, if you're not investing in yourself, you're investing in somebody else. So,
Okay.
And also buying a house will give you that first little leg to leaving something to your kids and your kids' kids. That home can't, you know, it's going to increase in value.
There it is.
So that you can have something for them to start off with. You know,
equity.
like she said, you paying off somebody's. So pay off yours, and then when your kids get there, they don't have to do the same struggle.
There it is.
You know, then they can take your house and they can buy one of their own. So now they got two, and they just keep. The goal is to keep that ball rolling.
Right.
But so happens, like I said earlier in life, we didn't have that knowledge.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It was just like, hey, we got to get something. We just want to get a place. You know?
Right.
So you can't write off rent.
See, you can't write.
Sure.
Can't write off rent.
You cannot.
But you can write your house off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And you know what? They don't even use rent when you're for your credit. It doesn't go towards your credit as far as if you're paying it good, but it'll count against you if you don't.
Right.
You know, so that's a disadvantage right there. Now, Sister Lee, you mentioned you screamed in there real quick, equity. Will you like sort of explain, because somebody doesn't even know what equity is, you know, they don't know what it means. And some people own houses and they don't even know that they might have some equity built up in their house and don't even know.
Also known as appreciation. You know, when you paying on your house year after year, you're building wealth. You're building, say for instance, a savings account over here.
Yeah.
Even if you have a hardship and you're renting, you're not building anything.
Nothing.
Anything. But if you have a home, you're building wealth. And it's called HELOC, Home Equity Line of Credit. If you need to pull from that, and if you're a homeowner,
Yeah.
you have a saving account
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah.
that belongs to you.
Yeah.
And you could pull from it.
Yeah, that's good. So I want to just for whoever may be listening, and you maybe have owned your home for a long time, and you don't even know, that you have equity in your home and that you can go borrow against it and to take care of some things. Maybe your pipe's breaking down. Maybe you need to do, clean this or clean that, and you are struggling, and you're letting the house fall apart because you think you don't have the resources to take care of it. Well, it's in your home, right? So what you need is in the house, right? So we want to encourage you to go ahead and
especially if you purchase a home in Rutherford County 5-10 years ago, you got a lot of equity in that house now.
wow.
Because of the market has really increased in this area. What do you think, Karen? 3 years ago, houses was still reasonable to say, and now of course that $300,000 house is $500,000 now.
Right.
So if you purchase your house at $150, chances are you got $350,000 worth of equity in it at this point now.
Yeah. Also, even if you are a homeowner and you want to take some of your equity out and you want to be an investor, there's your money right there.
There it is, right there, right there. So who then, y'all explain it, because somebody said, I didn't know that. Who would they need to contact to look into that? How would they begin to they're going to the mortgage lender. Okay. So that's who they need to contact, to begin to look into that, to see how much equity so they would need to get with their mortgage lender as well to even begin to see how much they have.
The mortgage lender, if you contact them about borrowing against your home or whatever, they would probably more than likely ask for an appraisal, and then they'll find out what your home is valued versus what you owe, and then of course that's the difference as your equity. And then they'll loan, someone will loan all your equity up to 95%, some may do 75%. It just depends on probably your situation more than anything, your credit situation, stuff like that.
So while we're talking about, were you about to say something? Okay, so I have a question right here. So what is, or help us understand, is there a difference, or what is taking out a second mortgage on your home? Maybe somebody doesn't know what that's about. Could you help them? Is that a way to get some money out of?
The HELOC will actually be a second. Your first is the initial, and then the HELOC will be the second.
Okay.
And also, when you get that second mortgage, you need to be careful, because if something happens to where times get a little rougher than what they were previously, that second mortgage is going to demand more from that mortgage than your primary mortgage.
Okay.
So in years ago, 2007, when the mortgage crashed, when the housing market crashed, we had a lot of what we call them, short sales.
Okay. Yeah.
And the short sales is because the mortgage lender was willing to take less than what was owed. But if you had a second mortgage, they would have to be in that conversation as well. So most people will have to, both the first and the second mortgage will have to agree to the amount that they would take in order for the house to be sold. And a lot of times the second mortgage would not negotiate. They would want their money,
Wow.
all of it. So that's why the short sales really was so long to close. It's because of the negotiation part of it.
Okay.
It was a little tough at the time.
Okay. All right. So that's good right there. So listen, so we've already done give you some good nuggets right here. Okay. So we already know we got some equity. We can take out a second mortgage. If you need to talk to somebody, then we have Sister Karen and we have Deacon Hennings. And then if you need to talk to this MLO, then you have here Sister Collins. And there's some other agents in Zion as well. I'm not going to try to call names. Okay. But they're in here. Okay. So what you need is in the house. So if you have more questions, then you want to make sure you reach out to any one of them, okay, and get your questions answered. Now, Deacon Hennings, you mentioned earlier about the inheritance and leaving. The houses and things and how parents were teaching. One of the things I found interesting as I continue to study is that in the Jewish nation, one of the things that they would do with their families is this is how they were able to pass it down, from generation to generation, is that they would, when a child, I think this might be leading over into my next lesson, but they would help their children purchase a house. Parents would help their children purchase a house to get them on their feet well. And they actually had what they would call like a family account. And so they would pay whatever they were paying on a mortgage, they were paying back into this family account, okay? And that was their sense of paying their mortgage, so that when their children or the next family member needed a house, they would take from that and they would purchase that. Now, I'm saying all that to say, especially in the kingdom, especially in our community, right, how we need to start setting ourselves or positioning ourselves so that we can help our children, generations from generations, help them get in a home, you know what I'm saying, and own a home, and then and then just let that thing continue to pass down. What do you think? What are some of the mindsets? Why are we not, other than the obvious we've already stated, why are we not doing that? What do y'all think? What are some of the hindrances, some of the mindsets that keeps us from, okay, let me put it like this. Do you think sometimes that we put our children, we don't give them a chance. They don't get the chance to get a good start. It's like we're always having to start at zero. And by the time we get to 50, 60, you know what I'm saying? Now we just now getting it. And it's taking our whole lives to just get it versus our counterparts, right? Where their children, they get to start out good.
A lot of it that I know of growing up is that when we got out of college, we had luggage, we had baggage, we had student loans that we had to repay because our parents didn't have money set aside for us to go to school. So we get out of school, and then now our first bill is a student loan. And so then that takes away from us buying a home because we're trying to repay our student loan. So we don't have the extra income to put towards a down payment on the house. But kind of moving this thing forward to 2023, a lot of families, kids are going back home to live with their parents after they get out of college so that they can get that. I guess it's the same concept as the Jewish family, but it's a different, you bringing sometime a husband and wife and kids.
Yeah.
Praise God, hope not. But that might be the case too. But I would do that in a heartbeat if I thought it's gonna give my daughters a leg up to get going. And I think that's what now, because of the housing market and because that the money versus what they're making versus what the housing costs, you got to do something to get them going. And that's what they're doing. A lot of people going back home, not paying rent, and they stashing money so they can get out eventually with a down payment.
Right.
You know, because now people, if you conventional loan want 20% down, you could talk more about that. But, you know, 20% on $400,000, you're looking at 80 grand.
Yeah.
And most of us don't have 80 grand laying around.
Right.
So it's a different. Go ahead.
I think it's because of lack of knowledge.
I guarantee
You
you.
know, just, you know, even when we were coming up, although, you know, our parents, they didn't have much to, you know, to give us, you know, we would hear our father always tell us save. But as far as investing, really didn't know how to do that. So I think it's a lack of knowledge. And now, even with my kids, although we know better and we're trying to tell our kids, I think with this generation, it's a matter of them listening. They don't want to listen.
For everything.
They know everything.
And we're trying to tell them a better way, but they don't want to hear that. And so I think, I think that's what the issue is now. And even, and I'm just going to throw this out here, even the importance of a good credit score. I mean, they don't. That's crucial when you're talking about investing in home buying and all that. So.
I think when you know better, you do better. And I think it's never too late to own. You know, you may be late in your 50s, but at least you trying to get there. Now they have rural areas, 100%, no money down. They have first-time home buyers. There's no excuse. No, they could even take you at a 580 credit score. But in order for you to get that first-time home buyer, you have to be at a 640, right? 640. But when you know better, you do better.
Right.
If you want it,
Right.
you know, you have to prepare. So, you know, now there's no excuses. But my husband and I said that we will leave the light on for him, just a little bit. But,
Hand on the switch.
but we wouldn't mind if the kids come home to invest in themselves, you know. But, you know, we want everybody to win. So now there's no excuses. You have so many people in the house to give you information. But if you want the information, you have to seek the information. You know, I don't want to be running after somebody asks, hey, you want to buy a house? No.
Right.
You know that we're out here. You know that we're here to help. Because I love empowering people. I love to help. I love to serve, all of that. But you have to want it. I don't care if your credit is 300.
Right.
Let's see where you are so we can see and get a plan for you to get what you desire.
Right.
If you want it, let's get it.
Right.
Get it. Reach out to me. We
Yeah.
can help you with that.
Yeah.
We have the resources
Yeah,
available.
she could get you a pre-approval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody who's saying, okay, I want to buy a house, but I know I have to do A, B, or C. For instance, I asked this young lady at work because she mentioned she wanted to buy one. I said, well, when are you going to start working on it? Well, I think I'll start working on it next year. I said, you want to buy next year, or you just going to start getting yourself together next year? She said next year. So how long, when do you suggest that they get started? If you want to buy a house like in the next year or the next 2 years, and you know your stuff is not together, when do you suggest they begin to get started?
Now.
Absolutely.
Because you would know which route to go. You would
Right.
know what to do with your credit. You know, the loan officer, she could pull the credit and say, hey, this is where you are. Now, if you need this, these are the routes that we need to take. So, you know, we all here to help.
Right.
But you have to be willing and able to want to invest in yourself.
Right. Absolutely.
And I will say, with the company that we're in, so if you're looking at your credit score and you're like, I just don't see this possible buying a home. So we will actually, they will actually get your credit score. They will come up with a plan for you as to how to get to that place of home buying. So it's not just where we're just gonna do your loan, but it's give you steps. And so it will help. We have resources available to help you get your credit to a place to where you can.
Home ownership is in reach for everybody that wants it.
Okay, that wants. Did y'all hear what she just said? Home ownership is available for everybody that wants it. So I don't know if it's you that we're talking to today, and you've been sitting there and saying you think that is totally out of your reach. We want to tell you today that it's in your reach. And we have an individual. I'm not going to tell all her business, but I'm gonna let her give her own testimony. But there's a sister here in the house that 3 or 4 years ago, even before the COVID and everything, she was trying to buy a home. She was about to give up, and she was about to just give up on it and just walk away. But just Thursday, she got the keys to her house because she stayed with it, and even when she wanted to give up, I kept saying, you can't give up. God's going to do this thing for you. And so now she has the keys to her house. So we want to say congratulations. I don't want to bust the name out, but the last name started with Williams.
And you know what the thing about that? It doesn't matter who your realtor is,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I'm happy for any and everybody that's investing in themselves.
Yes.
Because you think that much of yourself, So I'm just happy for everybody. You don't have to buy from me.
Right.
Buy from him.
Right.
Buy from whomever.
Right.
Just invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. You're worth it.
Amen.
You're worth it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? You're worth it.
You're
Amen.
worth
And God
it.
wants you to
Yes.
have it, right? He wants you to have it. He said, I'm going to give you those houses, okay? And so listen, we're almost done, but before we leave, we know COVID has messed us all up, and we didn't mess everybody else. Some people still thrive through COVID in homes and all these things. So will you just share with us, what is the market like now? What do we have? What can we look forward to? Do you see any good changes that's coming? Interest rates beginning to go lower, things of this nature. Where are we at right now? And, what can we look forward to in 2024?
I'm going to let the mortgage lady talk about the interest rate.
Well, from what I'm seeing from my mentors in my company, they right now they're just a tinge a little bit. So as it relates to the future of it, they seem to think that the interest rates will go down.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not back to where they were, but so yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much.
And to get down, she said it won't go down to where it was.
Mm-hmm.
That was unbelievable.
Right.
I remember purchasing a house in '97, and I was dabbling, trying to say close no at an interest rate at 9%. And I was like, it was down at 8, and it got down almost to 7. I say, okay, and I was just watching this rate then, so we won't see that 2 and 3, I don't think anymore. But as far as our market go, I think that the pricing of the housing probably are where they are. They're going to be where they are. We don't have to rush as much. I think you got a little time. You can think about it. You can go home and pray on a couple of houses. Now, before we didn't have that option. It was going so fast when the interest rates were lower.
Yeah.
But now I think the market is kind of settling. We got more houses on the market, so I think it's better. If you're purchasing a home, the sellers have to wait a little longer. I think the average house on the market is now 20-something days, maybe.
Okay.
20, 22, 23, you remember?
It depends on the area.
Yeah. And so I think, it's there. It's getting better. But what's going to drive the housing is the interest.
The interest. Okay. So is the price range still where, I know as we were going into COVID, it was getting where you weren't finding, when I was looking for some houses for some people, I wasn't finding anything under $300,000.
Very few.
Yeah. Like maybe trailers.
I hadn't seen, right. I hadn't seen, you get a townhouse for $300, $350, somewhere along in there, but I hadn't seen a single family home lately under $350.
$350.
Wow. I take that back. I saw some other day. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, and I think it was like at $290.
Oh, okay.
287, something around there. But I think we're at the price we're going to be at for a while.
Oh, okay.
Now we got in, thank God, in the 2s and 3% when we bought this house in Murfreesboro. But when I bought my first home in 06. I had an 80-20. So my first mortgage loan was 9%. My second was 13. Okay, so now the interest rates now are in the high 6s, low 7s. It did come down because it was touching 8. But my thing is, date the rate, marry that house. Because you can refinance later, but get that house that you want. Get that house. They say they're predicting beginning of the year, the first quarter, that the interest rate's supposed to come down, but that's a prediction. We don't know. But if you get that house and date that rate just for a little bit, just date her. You know, you can refi. You can always refinance. Yeah.
And most mortgage companies now would tell you that they will refi your house in 6 months. So, you know, depending on the rate. So they know the situation everyone is in. So they're trying to help you, I guess, as much as they think they can. So they saying, you know, you can get it now, and then 6 months we'll look at it again. And then if it's better rate, you can refinance.
And I'm actually working with a seller. She purchased her home. It was a new build. And I sold her that house, but she moved to Arizona due to work. But she's under a VA loan, and she got her rate at a 5.5. So we're trying to find somebody that will assume that loan at a 5.5. So that's another route too. We are seeing some. Have you been seeing some? Some assumable loans.
I have not.
Okay, yeah. So I have one. So if someone is interested in the Antioch new home, 3-2. Yeah.
3-2. Explain that, please.
3 bedroom, 2 bath. It's a new build. It's a Regent home, and her interest rate is 5.5, and so they would get that rate. But they would just have to talk to that particular loan officer since he's dealing with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, this has been a good conversation, and I hope you have found much value in this conversation on today. And if you have any further questions, then you are more than welcome to reach out to Sister Lee, to Deacon Hennings, and of course to Sister Kim here. And so as we get ready to close and we get ready to wrap this up, then would one of you sort of explain for that person who may be new, like what are the different loans in like the FHA loan, the them different loans, I forgot them.
You wanna?
So, and I'm still learning. I have
Okay.
so I know it's the FHA loan, conventional loan. We have
VA.
VA loan, and I think those are really the main three.
Like she said, an assumable loan. And that's coming back. It used to be a big thing. As we used to have the lease to own, used to, purchase, rent to purchase and all that. Those are slowly coming back into the picture because of the situation that we're in. So those things, but now the conventional loan, they say that's the least expensive. But you're gonna have to have a high credit score.
Right.
And they're gonna want, some of them give you 5% down, most of them gonna look around for 20%. And if you do 20%, most of the time you don't have to have a principal mortgage insurance, which is another, depending on the size of your loan, another $100 a month. So it's something to think about. I think the FHA is the most expensive loan, but it's a lower down payment.
Oh, okay.
They only require like 3.5% down.
Right.
And your credit score doesn't
Don't have to be as high. That's correct.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been some good information. So as we get ready to leave, I want you all to leave somebody with something, some kind of a nugget, okay? That's going to be our exit ticket out of here, that as we get ready to leave, if each one of you would just leave them some kind of nugget concerning, real estate, home ownership, wealth, whatever you want to say to them as we get ready to close on today on this conversation on generational wealth and home ownership and real estate and all that kind of good stuff. So whoever wants to go first, and then I'll close us completely out as you just give us a nugget as we get ready to go.
I will say, love yourself, value yourself, invest in yourself and fire your landlord.
Fire them.
And I will say, home ownership is possible. If you have a dream to be a homeowner, don't give up on that dream. It's possible for you.
Yes.
And my thing would be, if you have an opportunity to be a homeowner or a land purchaser, do that.
Do that. Well, you heard it from the mouths of those who know, right? So I want to say thank you so much for each and every one of you for joining me on today. I do appreciate it. Again, you have Sister Karen Lee, Deacon Hennings, Sister Kim, and there are some more agents as well in Zion Christian Ministries. Make sure you reach out to them. What you need is in the house. Do not be afraid to ask questions, right? Because God has promised us great things, and we don't have them because we are ignorant. So don't remain ignorant anymore, okay? When it's in the house. I am Pastor J. This is Real Talk at the Z, and we are out.
Let's go. Let's grow.
That's why it's called Real Talk at the Z.